If you're coming back into this, we are back with more Everlasting Summers. So, obviously, we've been seeing some changes come from Alyssa, but he's starting, since she's starting to go a little bit into that dairy mode, as I had said a little bit. Uh, he's starting to go a little bit into dense mode, so we need to make the proper choice for him because she's making one of those creepy glares, at him. I kind of already knew which choice I'm gonna make, so that's pretty simple. So, right. Between shame at the dance party and Debechikai's mad guitar skills, I'd rather pick the latter. Goodbye. My goodness. She smiled strangely. I was just wondering if the decision I made was the right one when suddenly I was interrupted by a ringing, calling in the pioneers for lunch. I looked towards the canteen. I suppose it's time to go. Hunger is a sharp thorn. I turned around with an intent to call Alyssa to come along, but she looked still cheerless and down. Every musician should know when it's time to leave. I grumbled under my breath. Who is marching forward in a row? It is our pioneer squad. Pioneers in a row usually march to the canteen in the Soviet camp. I was looking for a place where no one would disturb me like what happened before, just so I can eat in peace. And for that, I have to at least not be the last one to come. But I was pretty sure whatever happens here happens whether I want it to or not. The canteen was crammed as full as an egg. Olga was standing at the entrance, guarding it like a hawk. Well, Semyon, were you working hard today? Hard enough. Well done. Truly well done. And the hardest is yet to come. I just bet. Fine, take a seat next to the girls. She pointed at the table next to the pillar. Slavia, Ilyana, and Lena were already sitting there. Not bad company. At least not the worst. I got my meal, went up to them. Huh. Do you mind if I sit here? I caught myself sounding a bit clueless. There were no other free places anyway. No, of course not. Please do. Lena remained silent. Today the meal consisted of a plate of borsch. I suspected there was some meat lurking in it, but I had no evidence. Some poultry, chances are chickenus, domesticus, with fried potatoes and a traditional glass of compote. I found myself liking the local food more and more. I guess it just came to the conclusion that I have no other choice, which means that there's no use in complaining. Thank God there's something to eat. Coming to the ball tonight? I don't know. You are going to be coming because you made an arrangement with someone. Oh, well, okay, you're actually thinking of it. He'll come. He got nowhere to go. Ilyana said happily. And I technically should be doing some forwarding because this has nothing to do with either of them. And this is kind of a familiar scene that I did previously. But it is going to lead to a choice that I'm only going to show a portion of Ilyana because I did kind of do a little bit of some forwarding on my own time just to kind of see what choices to make throughout Alyssa's route. Not that I really know what the scene is, but since one of the choices leads, it's going to lead into these two kind of getting a little scuffle and they, getting a mess. Last time I kind of ran away from her because it had to do with Slavia. This time I'm actually going to go with the choice that's going to be coming up here. So, yeah. So I'm going to do skipping and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to show all the scene because there is something in that happens with Ilyana's thing that I feel is more appropriate to be saved for her route as opposed to showing it here. But I'm going to show a portion of at least the conversation of these two cleaning up together at least. But I'll save something else that takes place with these two. I feel it be more appropriate for her route. I don't know. It's just the way I look at it anyway. But the only reason I'm doing that is because this choice here has nothing to do with Alyssa either way. Um, you know, so and the last time we ran away, it's a familiar scene with Slavia, and I at least want to try to at least incorporate some of the other characters this time around, since obviously there were a few scenes here or there you didn't get to see. Uh, those of you that saw, what you saw the first time around. So we are going to help her this time. But like I mentioned, only a portion of this scene I'm going to show, because once it gets past to a certain point, I'm going to off screen and go past something so that I don't kind of spoil it. But those of you that kind of already know about Oyana's route anyway, or things that kind of take place in it, you kind of know what might be coming up here. And I feel like it's more appropriate to save that. So it's an interesting scene though. But yeah, nah, running away is hardly a good idea. For starters, Olga has caught me already, and dashing off would only aggravate my punishment. As well as that, I was indeed partially guilty. Of course, it was all her fault, but if I hadn't reacted like that, probably we could have avoided this thrashing. Honestly, I said that I think when I was doing it throughout Slavia's route, that I would say it was both of their faults, because he some way said something to her. I can't remember what it was. And then she said something, and the next thing you know, they just get into some kind of horsing around thing. And then shit just hit the fan from there. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of what I would think anyway. Probably. Okay. I opened the cabinet and took out a broom, a mop, and a dustpan. Olga wasn't anywhere near Yana by the time I returned. She's gone. Can't you see for yourself? Yana looked upset. All her youthful spirit vanished without a trace. Okay, hang on a sec. I'll go and wash myself a bit first. I shot her an angry glance and headed towards the exit. Good lord. I washed the scraps of lunch off myself and returned to the canteen. Well, no escaping it. We have to clean it up. It's all because of you. Just a single gaze from her gave me the creeps. Of course it is. It's me who's guilty of everything. I mean, maybe not everything, but in this case, I would say two played a party in that, played a part, that kind of thing. It's me who's the local natural hazard. Oh, shut up. Good lord. Still, it's kind of strange that she's not trying to avoid this cleanup duty. Ilyana had a solid opportunity to just run away and leave me alone, but somehow she did the exact opposite, diligently gathering broken plate fragments, mopping the floor, picking up chairs and tables. In fact, she was so fast that I had a tough time keeping up with her. Well now, aren't you suddenly acting all goody-goody? It's not like I want to spend a whole day here, you dork. Probably not, but she still sounded irritated. But you kind of let this girl kind of get to you as well there, though, Semyon. You got to figure, with someone like her, you kind of have to ignore certain things, she says. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, you've got to understand that you can't behave like that. At least, not to such an extent. For some reason, I decided to try and give her a moral lecture. I haven't done anything. It was you who was calling me names. You both were kind of doing that, honestly. Grabbed a bucket and a mop and went to the farthest corner of the canteen. She mentioned something about his dancing or something, which I think she was just kind of messing around, and he just kind of took it and ran with it. I don't know. Looks like she's still angry. Looking back at the mountain of broken tableware, I finally began to understand the scope of the catastrophe. We're lucky that at least the forks and spoons are made of metal. We still have something to eat with. But there are hardly any plates left. Hey. Oriana called me with a shout. I went over to her. I don't get it. Why do you hate me so much? Her face became so serious that I was ready to believe that it wasn't just another trick of hers. Why do you think so? I have no idea. That's why I'm asking you. I don't hate you. It's just that sometimes you behave like a child. Is that what you were going to say? Well, as simple as that, but still. Like what? I have no idea. I don't know. This character is interesting, I gotta say, but like I said, I'm gonna show some other stuff, but here in a few minutes, they're gonna get into another scuffle that's gonna lead to him chasing her once again, and yeah, I feel like it's more appropriate for her route, so that's what I'm saving. But this part of the dialogue, I guess, is just fine. She shifted her gaze to me, boiling with curiosity. Well, for starters, what's the big idea in pouring the comp all over me? You were asking for it. My goodness. I don't know about certain things like that, though. I don't know. I'd have a problem with that kind of stuff, too. It's like, there's a point where, I can have fun with you kind of thing, but when you kind of overdo it, though, yeah, I'd be the type that might get a little mad, too. Maybe, I don't know. She smiled for the first time since we started cleaning. But she's kind of, like, her character is meant to be like, the energetic type. She's meant to be like the life of the party kind of thing. If you're ever down about something, right? She'd be the type you can go to. She'd make you laugh. I don't know, kind of thing about it. But since a few of you are kind of new subs to my channel, I mentioned the first time when I first saw this character, it's like, what's the deal with her hair? It's like, I don't know. It's like they put a Brillo pad on her head. It's like, just called it, slapped it on her, just called it hair. It's like, is is it like some type of style? I'm not really sure what to call it, but it's an interesting design of how they went about this character. And like her hair anyway. I don't know. I mean, Alyssa's hair looks a little bit kind of funny a little bit too, but not really that bad though. Her hair is really what really stands out from everybody else because it's like Miku. It's like obviously they borrowed her from where she come from, but everybody else it's kind of like okay, it's like hmm, what's the hair is like something that kind of stands out. Yeah, sure. I heaved a deep sigh. So, what do you expect from mothers then? Nothing, she replied acidly. This discussion was over, so I just continued cleaning up in silence. And after this is where I'm going to do some forwarding, so I will see you on the other side of this in just a moment. Okay, so now that we had chased her out throughout the woods and a bunch of other random stuff happened back there, we're kind of back where we need to be. But not too much is happening here because this is kind of a random scene that we kind of already saw. So I'm just going to do a little bit of forwarding here. Although she's not really yelling at him this time compared to the point where he took off from. But still, it's a familiar scene either way. That's the other thing that changes about that scene is that she doesn't really yell at you for running off. I don't know, kind of thing. Now I really don't know how to return the bag without being noticed. Sure, I could do it in the evening, but what do I do with it now? Semyon. I turned around. Slavi was in front of me. Wow, what's that? She looked at the bag that I didn't manage to hide in time. Oh, yeah. If there was one thing that she gave him was some type of bag of candy or some whatever it was. I'm talking about Oyana back there. It's like, but you'll find out how he got this damn bag on candy in the first place. It's just, I don't know. It's an awkward conversation to kind of read back there, but I'll save it for when I get to her route. What I thought of what she said back there, or how the conversation went anyway. Caught red-handed, or more like sweet-handed, trying to prepare for a scolding. These are sweets. Where from? I stole them. Damn it. Got them from Ilyana. Oh, I see. Same old song and dance. What do you mean? It's not the first time she's stolen sweets. And why am I not surprised? Let me handle this. Thanks. Slavia saved the day yet again. She took the bag and headed to the buffet. I had no desire to listen to what she was going to say while returning the sweets, so I started to look around the canteen looking for a place to sit. And while he just kind of gave her those sweets, this is where I would say that he doesn't quite get Ilyana, though. It's kind of what I said about him before I got on Alyssa's route here. Those were the two girls that he couldn't quite wrap his head around because he couldn't figure them out. It's like, oh, maybe it's only because, when I was doing Slobby's route, like he, but even throughout the first day, it's like, or a few times, even before you start getting closer to somebody, those were the two that he couldn't quite, I don't know, get. Like Lena and Slavia seem to respond pretty decently enough to them, at least from their personality perspective. But those two, like, you know, he didn't know what to think of him at the time. Certain points, I don't know. But let me do some forwarding here, because yeah, uh, they're talking about the ball stuff. So okay, because this has nothing to do with them. Okay, dinner was over and the pioneers started to disperse because there is gonna be a little bit of the night is coming along. So okay, those rare dances I used to go to school. And unlike the other time, we're actually supposed to go to her because she doesn't actually come up as far as I'm aware. We're supposed to go to her or something like that. Or this, I should say. I couldn't dance. I didn't know how to react if someone had invited me. I wouldn't dare to invite someone myself. All in all, I felt pretty uncomfortable about it. And it was even more unpleasant to watch others having fun. I wasn't envy. More like it was a disconcerting feeling that people were able to enjoy something so odd for me. Not that there was still lots of time till the ball, so I could sleep a little to be fresh in the evening. Entering the camp leader's cabin, I flopped onto the bed and shut my eyes. Okay. Oh yeah, this point where he just kind of is waiting for the night to come along. Okay. Strangely enough, I got up right on time, even without an alarm. The clock was showing 9, such a rare thing to happen. I felt sluggish though. Probably it wasn't the best idea to sleep during the day after all. I'm gonna see Alyssa instead of the dance. So it's time then. But you kind of are going to something though. Doesn't really make a difference how you going about this. I'm curious how this is gonna go though. A few minutes later, I approached the stage. Okay, maybe it was a bad idea accepting her offer. Not at all. Just talking to the bitch guy means danger. On the other hand, I wasn't eager to go to the dance. What could I do there? I'd only disgrace myself. No, I'm better off listening to Alyssa play the guitar. Okay. Coming closer, I saw a person sitting on the edge of the stage with her legs dangling. Okay. So, you came after all. Alyssa put the guitar aside and jumped to the ground. There was even a trace of joy on her face for a moment. Playing for someone is surely more interesting than being alone, as you can see. What are we gonna do? What do you mean, what? I'm asking you. Well, you wanted. I got a sudden idea that the situation is one of her usual pranks and I should never have expected to hear any guitar songs. I'm going to bed, bye. You're going to blow her off like that? Oh boy. I turned around and waved a hand intentionally slowly. I think you're saying no to the wrong person, though. Hey. I just grabbed my sleeve. What? Don't you want to listen? Listen to what? You yourself don't know what you're going to do. Of course I know. Took the guitar and hit the strings with a plectrum a couple of times. Sit next to me. Oh, jeez. This is a CG that's popular. I see a lot out there. This one anyway. All over the place. Usually it's like Reddit and a bunch of other places I've seen this CG. Even before I fired up the game, like Slavia, there was one little CG, I can't remember what it was. I think it was one of hers, Lena, and I think Alyssa here. I didn't see one of Ilyana, so it's like the rest of them I didn't really see, but these three I think I recall. This scene here. It's kind of interesting. I didn't object, and in a moment I was sitting beside her. It's better this way. Missed the dance, leave now, and then what would I do? The role of a stranger was more suitable for a passive observer and not for the eager seeker of answers who I wanted to be so badly. So, I'll show you how to play this song now. Just like that, right away. What do you mean right away? I haven't held a guitar for a long time. She could probably guess how long it had been since I had held one. My skills were enough to make a cat laugh. It's not difficult. I threw an intense look at Alyssa. It distinctly seems to me now that she just can't express her feelings. Well, for me, it's like, don't ask me to like read a sheet of music. I wouldn't know where to begin. I've tried that. Like, I could never get the hang of like figuring out like different stuff. So I just mostly just kind of go by feel. Like, if you show me a few different like basic stuff, I could probably go from there. That's kind of what I do. I don't know. Just kind of go from that. That's pretty much all I know anyway. As I mentioned, I just more or less just kind of mess around. But a lot of times it just sounds like shit. I don't know. you know. But she's not completely wrong, but she's also not right either at the same time, because some people, it's like they tried and they just could never get even a single note. It's like they're just making noise. It's like, oh, you pick it up. It's like, yeah, I've tried. It's like, I don't know where to begin. Me, I at least know at least the basics. That's pretty much it. And I don't even know it's like a D string or that string. I know it's like if it give me a chart, it's like, okay, I know what that is. And then show me a diagram. I try to follow a little bit with that. But like I said, I was never good at reading that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, do I need to put my finger on the thick string or the skinny string? The skinny one is usually the last string. It's like the smallest one. It's like, okay, like most songs though are used on I think it's like second or third fret and then down from the neck. It's like usually most songs usually played are within that range, and then usually if you're playing lead, it's like down like I don't know, like down like towards like 18th or 20th fret somewhere. I don't even remember now. It's like that's been forever. And the guitar I have anyway, it's like some old. Uh, it's got like a Fender kind of shape to it, but it's not a Fender guitar. It's like some cheap. It's like some Chinese off-brand type name. I don't even know. You know. So but it's an alright, I just don't have the amp that I have doesn't really do much. And then when her self confidence and impudence turned back on, it was bitchiness as usual. And which is the real one? I think she's a mixed bag, my friend. Sundays are like that. They're not really all that much of different than anybody else. I think that's what makes them unique to me, anyway. Why I kind of like them somewhat is because while they have a little bit of an attitude, they do have a sweet side to them that you do want to get to know. It's like because I don't know. I always say it's like they do it to show like a bit of insecurities about themselves, so that's kind of why they do it like that somewhat. They're not exactly always sure if the person might get with them, so they tend to kind of act a certain way around them, you know. The only thing that I always say that a trope that they use to do with animes all the time is like, ah, why do you have to deny your feelings though? If you like the guy, just tell him, what's the point? But they go about it either way. It's like in a bizarre way. It's like, hey, we're prolonging this for a reason. Is there a reason why you're making her like that? I don't know. Hey, what? Stop daydreaming. Oh yeah, sorry. So, are you watching? I am. What song is this? The one I played this morning, of course. Oh, okay. I'm listening. Alyssa made up her mind and started to play. Okay. That's it. It's an interesting sound, I gotta say. Did you get everything? I may have understood it, but I probably won't be able to replicate it. How should I put it? It's okay. Practice makes perfect. She is undoubtedly right on this point, but I've had problems with practice all my life. Well, I took the guitar from Melissa and tried to play the first chord. It was hard as if my fingers were tied in a knot and didn't want to be in the right place. I used to be better before, but now I wouldn't even be able to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. What? If you could play that, I don't know. I mean, I never really tried playing that song. I probably wouldn't even be able to, like, I would have to look at a thing, some type of, like, sheet just to see where the chord progressions would be, and then I just would have to go from there. I don't know. Wouldn't really take me that long. I don't know. Not exactly a song I would think off the top of my head. Come on, man, you can do better than that. Like, what made you think of that song? I don't know. Well, wait a moment. Looks like you won't be a rock hero. She laughed kindly. It may be better this way. He is vainly trying to remember the order of strings to press. Well, the guitar started to make devilish sounds resembling the groans of a wounded dinosaur. Looks like acoustic in your hands, unless if you got one of those electric types. But even then, they're not really like, they don't have that kind of sound to them. My left hand fingers constantly missed the right frets, and my right hand didn't strike the rhythm. Let's call that progressive rock. Uh, I don't know. Doesn't really sound a whole lot like it anything. Progressive? Well, give it back. She took the guitar away and it sounded completely different in her hands. I felt embarrassed by my clumsiness for a moment. Alyssa's skill might not be on the level of professional guitarists, but nevertheless she plays simple things like this with confidence. She must have had a lot of practice. Don't you get it this time? Did you get it? She finished and offered the guitar to me. Well, I did better the second time, but it was still a long way from Melissa's level. Or from any decently adequate level. I was aware of how totally worthless I was compared to her. It seemed so simple to just play a song with three chords. It's not if you're somebody who doesn't play, though. The tone is too simple, though. I put the guitar aside. Alyssa was lost in thought for a moment. Even a preschool kid could play it better. Thanks. I tried. So, I noticed. She might be trying to demonstrate her evident superiority at playing the guitar. It's not like everyone could be a musician. Not really. Alyssa looked up at the sky. Though you can't be one, that's for sure. Why is that? You should have heard yourself. Started to regret coming here. My goodness. Don't mind me. Why does Alyssa need to do this? It's obvious that I'm a horrible guitarist. It's the idea that she just wanted you to hang out with her. That's what it is. Use that brain a little bit. Think. Why did you want you to go there? Come on, Semyon. Obviously. But if I had some practice. So, will you practice? I don't know. Maybe I will. The guitar was the least of my problems, though. I'm stuck in a strange world I can't escape from. That's more important than a stupid argument with Alyssa. I suddenly felt an annoying self-pity, apathy, and an urge to leave this place to forget this evening. Those feelings left a nasty impression and a burning desire to do or say something stupid. As if I would change anything. What? Me learning to play the guitar. You surely would. You'd strum the guitar for a couple of days and give up. Alyssa's words pierced my heart. You know what? Oh well, she should know. Is it any concern of hers? Am I reacting this way just because it's true, and that it's Alyssa who spoke that truth? You can't know how to do everything. Probably not. But you should be able to at least do something. So are you saying that I can't do anything? How should I know? You know, I what? Should I tell her about my computer skills? What? I mean, unless if you have some kind of professional hacking that I don't know of, maybe. But even then, it's like, what skill would you need for that? Here, I just turn it on. I'm on it every day. I don't know. Or about the books I've read and movies I've watched. Well, this is a pointless conversation. That goes without saying. You're only concerned with having fun. And you do nothing but whine. You do have a point about it, though. But I could be kind of like that, too, somewhat, though. I don't know. I mean, I could be somewhat lazy too. I mean, I've mentioned that beforehand, but I don't know if I'm that lazy to that degree though. But yeah, I could be relate to a certain degree on it. But it doesn't mean I won't do anything though. Just depends. Forget it. I jumped down from the stage and walked away from a concert area. Go then. I heard Alyssa yelling to me. I'm already going. I hissed. Lord. The path led me back to the square. There was Flavia in the center of it, sweeping the area. My goodness. Oh, Semyon, hi. I thought everyone was already asleep. No. What are you doing? Cleaning up after the bowl. When did you come? Just. And where have you been? I. I hadn't the slightest intention of telling Flavia how embarrassed myself on stage with a guitar in front of Alyssa while the whole camp was having fun at the square. I took a walk. My goodness. Okay, well you should have come. It was fun. Glad you enjoyed yourself. I've been sweating like a pig today because the worries are just a hot night. Hey, do you know where I could have a bath? Certainly. Go straight. Then a bit to the left by the pod. Then to the right and there would be a bathhouse. Should I accompany you? I'm not on your route. How's would that go? And I don't know. Listen back there. If she saw you two going someplace, I don't know how that would work. That wouldn't go over too well, considering that she's starting to go a little bit deary. Somebody already left a comment. I think it was in the other part that I put. Somebody says, once somebody goes deary, if you don't cheat on them, they can get. I always thought that was more for yanderes, more like more the obsessive type. But I do recall though they still have that. They still have that sun part of them, so I can kind of see a little bit. Maybe if you do something like that, maybe I guess that would make sense. No need. I'll find it myself. I told her I didn't want to burden her more. I do recall that Sunderays do have an extreme side to them a little bit. There's like the regular Sunderays, but then there's also a side of them that gets pretty dark as well. But that's what is known as a Kudere though. I always thought maybe that's a little bit something else. I don't know. Okay, so this has no relevance here, so this is just kind of a waste. Not really sure what he's doing here, but he just. Oh, wait. Oh, this had to do with her. Never mind. You. What are you doing here? Oh, boy. He ran into her. So last time he came here, it was Slavia who ended up being in the bath. This time he bumped into her. I kind of expected this face she would have, though. I was just washing myself. She came to her senses and spoke again. And? And what? How should I know? Then why do you speak if you don't know? All my peace of mind vanished in a moment. Only the irritation and the weariness remained. Okay, well, if you don't mind. Wait. Now what? If back there on stage you thought that, well, I didn't want to offend you or anything. It's okay, I'm not offended. I just can't play the guitar. That's discussion. A lot of people can't. I felt that there were obvious signs of irritation in my voice, but I couldn't do anything about it. I wanted to say everything to her face right here, right now. Exactly. You can't. Lissa obviously restrained herself from laughing. Oh, I've already had enough of you. She totally drove me out of my wits at that moment. In another second, I would have started to yell at her. Or worse. Wait, this is where I would say that you kind of misunderstand her a little bit there, Semyon. Would you just leave me alone? Alyssa followed me, but didn't try to stop me. I really didn't want to offend. Some invisible power made me to turn around. Okay, can I go now? Yes, of course. In the moonlight, Alyssa looked very beautiful with a brief, guilty expression on her face. If she could only keep her mouth shut. What are you smirking at? Although, nothing. I just thought that if only you were a little bit more polite. Then what? I shouldn't say such things. People get could get ideas depending on their intellectual abilities. Then nothing. You should finish what you started. There's nothing to finish. I'm very tired and I'm going to sleep. Stop right there. Don't make me run away from you. My goodness. As if you could. She may be right. I am already exhausted from this day, and naturally I had no intention of running after a bath. So what? What? If only I could be more polite, then what? Try and you will see. Why would I do anything for a fool like you? Oh my goodness. Now you're definitely going into the Sunderay line here. And don't try. What does it have to do with me? Look at these two arguing. It's not like a husband and wife. It's like, and do I have to be part of this dialogue? Yeah, I do. I sighed and dragged myself to the square. And what about you then? What? I replied without turning to her. Well, if I would, then you. I don't know what you were talking about, but let's think that I would if it is easier for you. Moron. She yelled at me and headed to the bathhouse. My goodness, what a conversation. The squares shine with the cleanness of a German road, which were washed with shampoo, or so people said. And this is where I'm going to call part. So, it's pretty interesting. The route is getting going here. So, we're making some progress. She's starting to show different sides to her. He's actually, I could tell a little bit now that he's starting to think of her. What it's kind of reminded me a little bit of how he went about Slavia, but it was a little bit different here. Here, it's like he's starting to go into dense mode. It's like, unlike where Slavia, it's like where he was, he still wasn't quite sure of her. Wasn't really a dense thing on her part, even though he still couldn't quite tell that she was starting to try to get close to him. But with here, you clearly are seeing that Alyssa's trying to open up in her own way, even though this is probably, you could tell it's kind of new for her. But the way he's kind of going about it here, I don't know. It's the classic, like, okay, now I gotta be dense to what's going on around me, right? Is that where we're going with this? Reminds me a little bit of Emi's route from Kato Shoujo a little bit, where at first he couldn't tell like what her intentions were to get him to get Hisao to go down to the damn tracks. Like, why does she want you to run with you? Could think about it, man. Why? You're having lunch on the roof and all these other places. Why do you think she wants you to go there? Use that brain a little bit. But in this case, she wasn't really a tsundere. She was just kind of the energetic runaway running type person, as far as that went. But yeah, so other than that, it's pretty much all I have for this part. But there'll be more so in the coming days. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.